What it do? This is your brother Bishop of Bishop Zone TV, and today I will be bringing to the public a list of the top 10 generic cities in America. Yes, the top 10 most generic cities in America. Now, I got a disclaimer. I actually like some of these cities on this list. It kind of breaks my heart to put them on this list. But understand, generic doesn't necessarily mean bad or good. It just means that these cities don't necessarily stick out compared to their peers. And when I mean generic, I mean cities that are dominated by commercial culture. Example, if your city is full of Walmart supercenters, Home Depots, McDonald's, Burger King, Starbucks on every corner, then chances are you live in a generic city. If your metro is surrounded by endless miles of single-family homes that look identical from one another, then you live in a generic city. Are there strip malls after strip malls after strip malls of the same damn stores you can find anywhere else in America? Then you live in a generic city. Do you have a local dish that you can't find anywhere else in America? Then chances are you live in a generic city. I don't make the rules. I just compile this list from people on social media. And not only that, but just random media outlets, Reddit, city data, etc., etc. Look, don't get mad at me for this list. You know if your city is interesting or just kind of bland or generic. Again, generic and bland are not necessarily bad things. These cities just don't stick out, that's all. So, without further ado, let's give you the top 10 generic cities in America. Number 10, Houston. So what puts Houston number 10 on the list? While the city of Houston inside the 610 loop is my favorite area in Texas, the same cannot be said about everything else outside of it. And while there are pockets of character outside the loop, Houston gets extremely generic the farther you get away from the loop. With that said, Houston does have a good amount of cultural institutions, culinary options, and festivals that make it kind of unique. Also, its diversity and lack of zoning gives the city a character all of its own. But that mass sprawl that surrounds what's culturally unique about the city puts it at number 10. And hey, you should thank God that it's number 10 because there's more to come. Number 9, Jacksonville. Now, having a beach in the area probably saves Jacksonville from being high on this list. And there's also a nice riverwalk full of shops and restaurants that gives the city some unique character. But when one of your top attractions is a fountain called Friendship, then I'm sorry, Jacksonville, but you've made the generic list. But hey, I do hear downtown is improving, so maybe next year. Number 8, San Jose. Now, I've been to San Jose a couple times, and I can't tell you a single thing that sticks out about San Jose. The most unique thing about San Jose is that it's in the Bay Area, which is truly a distinguishable region in this country. San Jose is just one of the more forgettable cities in the Bay when compared to cities like San Francisco and Oakland. Now, it is one of the most diverse cities in the country, and it does have the haunted Winchester House, which, by the way, it's just a glorified gift shop. Save the money and skip the Winchester House. Just go to San Francisco. I'm sorry I lied to you, Martin. I just didn't want to go to Arizona. Number 7, Phoenix. What more can I say about Phoenix? Probably nothing that stands out, honestly. Now, it is in the middle of the desert and does have access to recreational sports, so that's something. Phoenix is also one of the fastest growing cities in the country, drawing people from places like California and Chicago. So it has something going for itself, just not enough to avoid the generic card. Number 6, Charlotte. Charlotte is home to Anthony Hamilton, Jodeci, and DaBaby, amongst many other famous Charlotteans. I guess that's how you say it. Charlotte has a lot to be proud of. That's all I'm saying. I've also heard lots of nice things about Charlotte too. But being truly distinctive and unique is not one that I often hear when describing the Queen City. Now, oftentimes I've heard Charlotte referred to as Atlanta's little brother. I've also heard Charlotte being referred to as Atlanta in the 80s. I just never really hear Charlotte being described as anything else but some other city. And please help me out. Explain to me what Charlotte is. Explain to me the character of the city. I'm not saying I dislike Charlotte. I'm just saying when you're the home of Billy Graham's museum, then you gotta get on the list. Number 5, Columbus, Ohio. Columbus is considered so generic, I had to include the state name so you would know exactly where it's at. To be fair though, the city is crazy about Ohio State, and that Buckeye pride is truly unique. Also, for a city labeled generic, there are a couple of unique enclaves in the city. It's just not enough to escape the generic label. But hey, at least it's home to Shad Moss, aka Mr. Bow Wow 106 in Park himself. So that's something truly unique. Huh? Number 4, Dallas, the Big D, Southside Gorillas. But according to many transplants and visitors, Dallas in the Metroplex is one of the most generic cities in the nation. Many people consider Dallas to be the most generic city in the nation. So why is it ranked number 4 on this list? Simply put, I don't consider it more generic than the 3 ahead of Dallas. Don't get me wrong, Dallas embraces commercialism. One of its newest attractions is the Discovery District. It's basically a smaller Times Square-ish district presented to you by AT&T. Now, I've been to Discovery District and it's actually not that bad. You just can't get any more corporate than that. Also, there are neighborhoods like Deep Ellum, Uptown, Bishop Arts District, and Lower Greenville that give the city some type of character. There's also Fort Worth, which has a little more distinct personality than its bigger brother Dallas. Dallas has the good but unfortunate situation of competing with its suburbs. The area is just too influenced by polished, generic, sterile suburbs, and that's why it's number 4 on the list. Sorry, Dallas. Holla. Number 3, Indianapolis, home to the Indy 500, the NFL Combine, Mike Epps, and David Letterman, just to name a few. With so many famous people from this city, how does it make the list? Simple. I can't tell you anything that particularly sticks out about the city of Indianapolis. I mean, they do have a pretty dope monument located in Monument Circle. Architecturally, the downtown is kind of underrated. But there's way too many national chains that dominate downtown compared to local culinary. And when your downtown has that many national chains, then you simply might not have a lot to offer that's that unique to your locale. I'm pretty sure Indy is a fine city. It just doesn't stick out enough compared to its peer cities. Number 2, Oklahoma City. Now, I know if my cousin sees this, he's probably gonna be pissed off. He loves Oklahoma City. And hey, I think it's a fine city. I just can't tell you what sticks out about it. I mean, for starters, the NBA team is named Thunder. That's not really that complimentary, especially when your city sits in Tornado Alley. Second, Oklahoma City has this tall skyscraper, Devon Tower, that clearly doesn't match the rest of the skyline. I mean, you're not gonna build anything else to complement that lone skyscraper hanging by itself? Now, I'm gonna be fair. OKC does have Bricktown, and it does have some surprisingly nice looking brick buildings close to downtown. But that ain't enough. On the flip side though, housing is considerably cheap, and it's a growing city. And unlike number 1 on the list, Oklahoma City actually has a zoo. It has a zoo, y'all. Zoo. Now, before I reveal number 1 on this list, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you haven't, please go tell your mama and your mama's mama, and also your mama's mama's next door neighbor, Miss Maybelline. Y'all know Miss Maybelline got a big ass mouth, and she'll tell everybody in the neighborhood, including your aunties and uncles. So please tell your mama's next door neighbor, Maybelline, so we can get more likes and subscriptions. Let's go to number 1. And number 1, Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, I have a confession to make. I've never been to Raleigh a day in my life. But the little I've heard, I actually like Raleigh. It's a growing city, has a growing tech scene, and in some ways, it outshines its neighbor down south, Charlotte. So why is Raleigh, a city that's experiencing an economic and population boom, number 1 on the list? Come on, y'all. Have y'all not been paying attention to this list so far? It just doesn't have a lot of character, plain and simple. Now, you would think a metropolitan home to such schools as Duke University, UNC, and North Carolina State would have more personality. But it's quite the opposite. I mean, when you have an area that has over 1 million people and no zoo, you know you have problems. And I'm not saying a zoo is the end all be all, but come on, y'all. You got 1 million people. You need a goddamn zoo. I'm just saying. Raleigh is also home to one of the oldest running theme parks in the world. The problem with that though, this theme park was created before thrill rides were a thing. So the best rides at Pullen Park happen to be a carousel and a train ride for kids and toddlers. Great for families, but for adults, turn up, I guess. All right, and that'll do it for the top 10 most generic cities in America. Now, this list is all in fun, I'm just poking fun. Don't get upset, don't get mad. Hey, just be happy that your city made the list. Any list is a positive. Alright? So, like and subscribe. And if you don't like the list, if you disagree with it, please let me know. Hey, if you agree with it, let me know even more, because I need more people to be agreeing with me so I can look like I know my shit. I'm just joking. I don't have anything else to say, but thank you. And until next time, holla.